First time I've gotten back out to the greenhouse since the deep freeze, and as you can tell, I lost a lot of the plants. All the lettuces are gone. Spinach is still there. Hasn't grown any, but I wasn't expecting it to grow much until the days got warmer and more sun. Swiss chard, it's the old one. It did fine. Little turnips did fine. Lost all the lettuces and stuff that were down on that end also. Lost the beets that were over there. These turnips are doing fine yet, and along with that Swiss chard. And the carrots are doing well, and the row of garlic is doing okay. Peppers, of course, are all gone. And I had Brussels sprouts, cabbage, and cauliflower in this area, and I lost all of them. They were just little bitty babies when the freeze hit. So hey everybody, welcome to Country Girl. My name's Kathy Jarvis, and today we're going to be talking about garlic. Now, garlic's been around forever. It's got a lot of common names. It's called the camphor of poor. It's poor man's tessel, rust tessel, stinking rose, and Russian penicillin are just a few of the common names that has been known in the past. Now, garlic itself is a bulb, and inside that bulb are a lot of little cloves, and these are surrounded with a papery thin sheath that you have to break open to get to the clove itself. Now, this bulb is the only part of the garlic that you use. So you don't use the rest of it, except for you can use the scapes on the stiff neck. But the rest of the plant you usually don't use. Now, garlic has been prized for its food value and fixing it in food. It's been valued for spiritual protection, and it's also been used as a home remedy for medical purposes in the past. The history of garlic is so far-fetching that it's really hard to tell exactly where it originally came from. They're kind of leaning towards China, but they're not even for sure about that. It has been used in the Middle East for over 5,000 years. Ancient Egyptians even showed it on their tomb walls as a medicine to be used in medicine stuff, dating back down to 1500 BC. That's how far garlic goes back in our history. Their African herbalists have used it in the past to treat respiratory diseases and respiratory infections. North American Native Indians used it for healing purposes on a regular basis. China and Europe have used it in the past. In World War II, the plant was used so much that it became known as the Russian penicillin. Now, this little garlic has a lot of vitamins in it, and minerals, and sulfur-rich enzymes. And in the past, it's folklore. Now, I'm not a doctor, and I don't know how any of these work, or if they do work. Everybody's different. It might work on one person and not work on the other. But in the past, it's been used to kill intestinal worms, lower total cholesterol, ease breathing when you have a cold, and possibly fight infections. It's also been known to help with cramping, to fight viral infections. It's even used to increase sexual desires, or so it says in the past. It helps you to expel gas and to reduce bloating, reduce sweating, promotes menstruation in women, and helps you to get rid of the mucus and stuff when you have colds. And like I said, I don't know if any of this works. I'm not a doctor. But you can go online and you can find a bunch of home remedies on how to use garlic as a herb medically. There's recipes for cough syrup. There's recipes for poultices to help get infections out. You can get garlic tea recipes. You can get recipes on how to use it as a nasal irrigation. There's all kinds of different recipes online that you can use and learn. And I would not try any of these without first contacting my doctor to see if you can use them. Not everyone can. Some people have reactions to garlic, especially if it's placed on their skin for a long period of time. So if you go and research any of this, make sure you do your research completely and find out how to prevent reactions. And like I said, talk to your doctor. But that's just a little bit of tidbit, a little bit of news, a little bit of information that what garlic's been used for in the past and what some people still use it for. I know myself, I use the garlic on wounds and stuff to help keep infections out. Garlic itself is fairly easy to grow, but you have to be patient. It takes 9 months for it to grow. That's a long time. There are two types of garlic. There's the stiff neck, also called hard bat neck, and then there's the soft neck garlic. Now the hard neck garlic is usually used in the northern climates, as it does require a period of cold before it can form its bulbs. It likes open, sunny areas, well-drained soil. The bulbs will grow in heavier soil, but they'll be smaller, and you can help that problem by adding sand or compost to the soil before you plant the bulbs. Like I said, the hard neck requires a period of cold before they'll start growing, and then they require a period of wet so the leaves can grow. You'll get the bigger bulbs if you plant between the first fall frost until November. After that, you can plant up until the ground freezes, but your bulbs are going to be smaller. It can be planted in Indiana, usually between September through mid-October to get the bigger bulbs. However, if you live in a cooler climate, you might want to wait and plant until October. If you plant too early, it will not grow very well. The best time to plant your garlic is in the fall. But if you live in a warmer climate, you can plant in early winter in as late as January in some areas. But just remember, your bulbs are going to be smaller in size. If you do plant late, like if I plant now, which I may have to because my garlic still hasn't arrived that I ordered, make sure you keep the area watered well, because they will need a lot of water, and they do need the cold period. If you're planting in the spring, make sure the soil has warmed up enough to support the growth, and this is usually about 60 degrees soil temperature of the ground. How do you plant garlic? Garlic is planted by splitting these bulbs into cloves, and then you just plant the clove about 2 inches deep and 6 inches apart, and cover with the 3 to 4 inches of straw or mulch. It takes about 4 to 6 weeks for the garlic to germinate. Like I said, it takes about 9 months for the garlic to grow. But when they get to be about 4 inches tall, the leaves may start to die back. And this is when you can start harvesting what's called fresh or green garlic. And to do that, you have to, this garlic will not store when you harvest it that soon. Green garlic, fresh garlic, should be used immediately. You pick it out and you use it. As the garlic matures, the leaves will die back completely, and that's when you can harvest the bulbs, and they can grow up to 15 to 24 inches tall. But when those leaves die back, that's the time to harvest your garlic for storage. Brush off the dirt before storing them and cure them in a warm, shady place. Don't put them out in the hot sun. Avoid high heat and avoid hot sun. You can hang them in bundles or spread them out in a single layer for 2 weeks. After that, store them in a cool, dry, well-ventilated place at about 45 to 55 degrees, which is 7 to 13 Celsius, with a 50 to 60% humidity. Garlic's fairly easy to grow, but you do have a few diseases and pests that you have to look out for. One of those is called the onion fly maggot, which will discolor the leaves and eat the roots and the bulbs. Another one is called the onion tripe, and this causes the leaves to lose their color and develop rusty spikes. Another one is onion white rot. This is a fungus that gets onto the bulb and eats away at the bulb and ruins your garlic. The problem with onion white rot is if you have it, you have a big problem, because it will stay in the ground for at least 7 years and maybe longer, which means you can't plant anything in that area. You can't plant any garlic or onions in that area. Another thing that can happen is downy mildew. It's another fungus that turns the leaf tips gray or yellow and produces a gray mold on the bulb. And the last thing that can happen is something called onion neck rot. And this happens after you've harvested, where the fungus gets a hold of around the neck and just turns it to mush. So, that's what I can tell you about growing garlic. So I hope you give it a try. If you haven't gotten it in the ground yet, you might try putting a few in now to see if they will grow, if your ground's not frozen. And try some more in the spring. It's always best to buy garlic that's from a seed company that's been certified to be free of viruses. A worst case scenario is that you can buy organic garlic from your grocery store, and you can try planting those. I would plant those in containers and not into my ground, just in case onion white rot is on them. You don't want to contaminate your whole garden. So, hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you learned something from it. Remember to dream big, follow that dream, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye, everybody.